guys, welcome back to Creativity and Inspiration. It's art day, or it will be. It's art vlog. Today I had been to the park. I took the dogs for a walk, and there's this cool bridge that I wanted to sketch, paint, and do some work with. So I went and took some video of it and some photos, which I'll show you a couple of the photos up here. And you probably saw some of the video at the beginning of at least the dog and I walking. It was a beautiful day. You can see the sky is just this crystal blue. It was nice to get out. I'll have to take them over there again on a warm day, because I think it's supposed to start raining and turn muddy tomorrow. And that's bad because there's a lot of mud in this park. If it's wet, a lot of dirt. But anyway, it was nice. And it's over by our house we used to live in. Love that area. But anyway, so I'm getting ready to paint the picture I thrifted the other day. I don't know if you saw that video or not, but it's this one, and I'm gonna paint it just like it is. I'm gonna use watercolor since the watercolor of the tray came out so good. I just thought it would be fun. I thought y'all might want to chat or maybe get your watercolors out and watercolor with me. We got a lot in this video. I thought about this yesterday. With the holidays coming, I don't know if you do a lot of online shopping. No, yes, but I do, and I'm getting more and more packing paper. Well, you can't reuse packing paper to pack new stuff. I mean, you could if it's like for Christmas gifts or something. But if somebody buys something from my vintage shop, I use new paper. That way I know everything's really well and protected. So I end up with all this used packing paper that's still perfectly good. So I thought I would show you what I'm going to do with it. So that'll be later on in this video. But right now, I got my watercolor paper, some brushes, some water, and some paint. So I thought we would paint the picture. Also, have you ever noticed that when you sit a picture down, if you're right-handed, you always sit it down with the handle going to the right. If you're left-handed, it's always with the handle going to the left. Maybe that's something everybody in the world knew, but today, me, was the first time I realized it. I don't know, maybe I just didn't pay that close attention to the direction. But anyway, got my paints, got my paintbrushes. I'm going to use kind of a larger paintbrush again, kind of like I did with the tray. I liked working with it. That way I don't get too detailed. I have some smaller ones for a little bit of the detail, but not a lot. So yeah. I think I'll use this angle brush so I can, kind of make the shape right. I'll show you I'll show you the setup. There's stuff all around it. It's not isolated because I am just focusing on it. And then I'll bring you in closer so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm going to move my water till I get ready to do this. There's the picture. That's the setup. It's angled more towards where I'm sitting. There we go. That's got to be there. So I'll try to bring you in a little bit. There we go. And I am still planning on reorganizing everything. I just haven't had the chance yet. Alright. Alright. I messed up. I'm just going to flip it over. I messed up the shape. You know what? I need my glasses. Oh. They're on my shirt. Okay, so it's gonna be... Alright, that's better. And this one comes around and dips like that. And this one comes around like that. I'm happy with that. And then we'll do the shape. It's in and out. Yeah, that's much better that time. Sometimes you just have to start over, you know what I mean? It's just required. And then there's a part of the handle that kind of comes down like that, and it's kind of up there too, like that. Okay, now I'm happy. Then it's got the green part that we're gonna do that. I'm just kind of outlining everything now. Okay, now I can go to the next color. I'm gonna use a green. Now I'm happy with that green right there. That's a good green. And remember, if you're not happy with how dark a watercolor is, just thin it with some water. Okay. Now I'm gonna put in all the plums, the plums. I love the plums on this. I like fruit, obviously. I've got peaches on my tray and plums on my picture. Well, the plums aren't in exactly the spots, but remember, you're allowed to take creative license with it for sure. And the reason I did my plums before I did the yellow is because I want them to have a chance to dry so I can go in and add the detail. The same with the green. I did all the colors that have detail in them first. And then I'm going and doing the solid yellow. And then for the yellow up here that has detail, it can dry while I'm doing the detail in the green and on the plums. Otherwise, I would have to wait maybe, longer, and I don't like to wait. Which is why me and oils don't get along, I think. And that's it, guys. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't think it's quite as cute as the tray, but I think it's pretty cute. And it's not meant to be an exact replica. I like to kind of make them wonky. So there you go. Let's get the original. Hold on. There's the original, and there's the not bad. I'm happy with it. Woo! Tomorrow, before I edit and everything, I'm going to talk to you about how you can put simple figures in motion. If you want them to dance, look like they're running, maybe jumping, it's real simple, and I thought I'd show you, and that will kind of wrap up our very simple figure thing. And then I'll show you about the packing paper tomorrow. And what else? Oh, maybe we'll sketch a bridge. Anyway, I've got to go do some vintage photographing and uploading to the website. So I will see you maybe later today if I start sketching. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Hey guys, so it is Wednesday, and I mentioned yesterday about packing paper, especially if you do a lot of online ordering. Sorry, somebody's driving down the alley. And so I thought today I would kind of show you what I was talking about, because this is you know, this isn't great paper, but it shouldn't go to waste. So I'm going to give you some ideas of what you can do with it. And I have the dark brown and this lightish color packing paper, which is, this comes in most of my Amazon boxes, and then this comes like from Etsy and other places like that. But what I thought, because artists always need paper, if you don't have a lot of sketchbooks, or maybe you do, but you like to add paper in, I'm just going to give you a bunch of ideas for this, and then we're going to go talk about movement with simple figures and creating a crowd. Because figures, to me, when I was starting out, were the hardest, and simple figures, and still faces, getting the proportions right, hands, those things are, you know, very difficult. Plus, I am not a fine art painter, so I don't do like an exact replica of something. Okay, sorry about that interruption. The dogs were barking, and Larry ordered lunch, and I had to go get it off the front porch. His balance isn't really good. So I'm going to show you some tricks for all this packing paper. And if you're mailing gifts, of course, reuse it as packing paper too. That's great. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little off. I'm really hurting. I don't know. If you were here about 3 months ago, my husband had been in and out of ICU a bunch. Well, the last time he was in ICU, I live with severe pain. I have CRPS. But I started having like even more severe pain. It was terrible. I thought I was having appendicitis. And I went to the ER, and come to find out I have a rather large cyst on my right ovary. And it had gotten better. I've gone down from stress. But it's been a stressful week with Larry, and it's back. The cyst is back, and I'm in extreme pain today. But I promised you guys I would get this video up for you, and I will. But I just may not have a lot of energy today because the pain is really, really bad. So I just kind of wanted to explain the low energy. And yeah, that's all. So enough of that. Okay. And then the battery died. Of course it did, right? So, anyway, Larry's been, ever since his strokes, he's like super, super mean to me. And it's just stressful, and the stress is causing my hormones to get all messed up. Yeah, he calls me stupid, which I'm not. And I'm sorry. I don't feel good. Let's do this video. Okay. So, one thing you can do with this, if you're not going to use it to repack, or also, let me start over. What I also like to do is, besides if I'm sending gifts to my kids who don't live close to me, I like to use it to pack up my holiday decorations. And I always change that paper out every year if I have enough of this, just because it gets, you know, flattened out over the year. So that's another great use for this paper. But back to the art part of this video, I'm going to show you a trick, and you can make really cool pages for you can make really cool add-ins for Sketchbook. You could use this as a big sheet of paper, you know, just on itself, like a big canvas, only it's paper. So I'm just going to do a little part of gessoing it, because this is the only size gesso I have. I ordered more, but it won't be here till tomorrow. And I'm going to show you how this works. So what I'm going to do is use this piece. Well, see, I'm debating. I want to use this piece because it's darker, and I just want you to see that you can use the darker packing paper. But this piece is all torn up, so I have to use this piece anyway because I can't use it for anything else. Maybe I'll do a little bit of both. Maybe we'll make some small drawings. And all I'm going to do is kind of tear off a little section. I would cut it, but yeah, let me go get my scissors. I'll be right back. I'm out in the garage because I don't have room to mess with this paper in my creative space, so I've kind of turned this area of the garage into my creative space, sort of. I like it, except it's also storage for my vintage business. It's okay. Oh, you know what I need to? I need a stand-up desk, because sitting with this ovary cyst thing going on hurts. And I can't do it on my desk because my desk is low. Got scissors. Okay, guys, my side is hurting so bad I can't even put paper in my printer because the paper's like on the bottom shelf on the floor, basically. I know it'll be better tomorrow. It was last time. I only took a day of medicine, antibiotic, to kind of clear it up. Because it's like infection, too. I don't know. It's really kind of weird, but it's really hurting right now. And it's weird because it comes out of nowhere and starts hurting. And I think it's because I get the infection and everything gets kind of icky, you know, inflamed. Okay, so here's a good sized piece of paper. I didn't bring the you know what? There is measuring tape. We're going to go over to the workbench in a minute and I will measure the size. Now I'm going to cut some of this one too. And I like doing this out in the garage too because they can dry out here before I bring them back in the house. That way I don't have to worry about getting it on walls or clothes or whatever. And all I'm doing is cutting out another piece for this. And I really don't have enough gesso to do these solid, but I'm going to do in the center. And you can, this light one, you could actually paint on it just like this. The color's fine. The problem is it's a little slick. So you're going to want to put some grit on it. So if you don't want to do white gesso on it, you're fine with the color. But it still needs that grit. Use some clear gesso. And it's going to change the texture of your paper, which will allow paint to grip it more. So I tell you what, I will put clear gesso on the white one, and I'm going to put white gesso on the brown packing paper. And that way you can get a feel for how they both do. So let me pick up my packing paper on the floor, and we'll go over to the workbench, and I'll run in and get the clear gesso real quick. If you want to make your own frames, you're going to have raw canvas. You'll obviously need to gesso that as well. I just buy my canvases. It can get expensive, so I always watch for sales. If I see some at estate sales or thrift stores, I pick them up as well. Just watch thrift stores and estate sales because sometimes they want to, you know, sell them for the most. Especially thrift stores want to put art store prices on them, and that, no, I'm going to a thrift store for a discount, you know, and I'm not going to pay full store prices. Estate sales, I understand because they're trying to get their client the most, but I will still go back, like, on day 2 or 3 if they discount stuff, and I'll take a chance. But that's where I get mine, but that's where I get my canvas. I go through quite a few canvases. So, and I am going to do an art tour. It was requested a couple of times on here and on Instagram. So I will do an art tour for you guys pretty soon. And let me go get my phone. I'll be right back. Okay, guys. So I went and got my clear gesso for the white paper to give it some tooth or grit, but let's do this one first. And all I'm going to do is break off that. I'm going to put a little gesso on the paper, and again, I'm not going to do the full sheet because this is all I have till tomorrow. And I do have paintings I need to do, so I am, like I said, store-bought canvases are already gessoed, but sometimes I need the gesso if I mess up. It's a great way to cover oopses and mistakes, or if you change the direction you want to go with your painting, it's a great way. So what I'm doing is I'm using just a foam cheap brush just to spread this out as far as I can get it. Using the foam brush too, it kind of soaks in, so it makes spreading easier. I think that's as far as I'm going to be able to get though. And I'm just going to make sure I got all the little, there we go. And now it's that one. Now for the clear one, you do the same thing. Let me go get another brush. I'll be right back. Okay, I got another little brush. And these were like a few bucks at Walmart. Because Walmart is the cheapest place. You can get them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, all those places. This is clear gesso, is actually kind of creamy looking, but it dries clear, and the reason we're using it, I don't know if you can hear, but it's silky. Can you see? I don't know if you can even see. There's like a little layer of silk in there, and since it's paper, not silk, but you know what I mean, it's glossy. And since it's paper, you can't sand it, so clear gesso will give it a little bit of tooth. And again, I just put some on my brush and just spread it as far as I can get it to go. I do this outside too because I find that gesso, clear gesso stinks. And maybe it's me, I am sensitive to smells. Okay, once you get whatever size you want on there, I'm going to use a little bit more of this because I have more of it than I do the white. You let it dry, and then you have perfectly good pieces of paper to paint, sketch, draw, whatever you want to do. You can trim them to be certain sizes. You can frame them, put mats around them, and nobody's ever going to know that it was once packing paper. This is a great way to reuse paper. Ugh, I hate stuff on my hands. So we're going to let these dry, and then we'll go in and I'll show you how well you can paint on them. And just FYI, I do save these brushes. I'll put them in Ziploc bags and mark, gesso, clear gesso. Because of the season, I know I'm going to be doing this quite a bit. So I will save them at least for a couple of months or until they really just start to fall apart. I don't just use them once and trash them. As you can tell, all dry. So there is our brown packing paper, and we use the white gesso on it. And then here is our lighter packing paper. And we put clear gesso on it to give it a scratch. It doesn't, I don't know if in here maybe you can see, this is the side with no gesso, and this is the side with gesso. There's less shine to it, and the paint will grip more, and this just gives the paint a good base. Now you can sketch on these, you can paint, whatever you want to do. So we'll start with this one. And what we're going to do is I'm going to paint my yellow pitcher, P-I-T-C-H-E-R, with acrylic paints today. I did it yesterday with watercolor, and it was fun. It didn't come out as good as as the platter did, but it was still fun. This yellow. And there you go. You have an awesome painting on packing paper. You could cut it out, frame it, put a mat around it, and nobody would ever know. Okay guys, now back to our simple figures and creating movement and a crowd. I'm going to show you another trick, and I'm just going to use this other piece of packing paper. And want to create a crowd, you don't have to create a lot of details. If you're going to put your crowd kind of off in the background too, you want to think about scale, because remember, things far off look smaller, and as you get closer, they get bigger. So if you want to do a crowd off in the distance, you could do a simple shape, and you would squeeze them all together. And we need to add in some heads and stuff so y'all can see this. And what you would do is you would just put a little blur over their head and their legs, because nothing when you're doing crowds has to be distinct, okay? And you could group them really close together, and then you don't even have to get the clothes right, just enough. You might be going, that doesn't look like a bunch of people, but I'm going to show you in just a second. And then when you hold it far off, you'll get the effect of a crowd. And all I did was make a little bit of mini shirts, basically, and then just put in some color for head, face, arms, and legs. And that's it. But when you look far away, it looks more like a crowd. And that's a trick that all painters do. Now, what about movement? How do you get your figures moving? And it's just in the way you position their arms and legs. For running, you would put one leg like a greater than sign, and the other leg, so it would be that way. Then the other leg is going to be straight out, sort of, like that. And then you've got your shirt. So I used a greater than sign and just a straight line. And you have somebody walking. And it's really that simple. You break the movement down into simple shapes, just like we did the arms and the shirt collar, or the neck area. For jumping, it's even more simple. You bring the legs close together, pick them both up, so it looks like you're making a backwards L. Of course, you can put a little space between them if you want. Then you put the body. Don't forget the shoes. and the shirt. And I'm just doing this real quick, guys. So, okay, and then put you some shoes or feet. Put you some arms, and your arms you're gonna want to have up in the air. And then you could do like some air down at the bottom. Again, it's like using shapes like an L and raising your arms. So to make movement, break it down. What do you want them to do? This one is a greater than sign. It's right there. And then a straight line for the front leg. And that is walking. Jumping is, you could think of it as 2 greater than signs or a backwards L if you wanted to. Up to you. So there are simple ways to make your simple figures move. And to create a crowd, just make them the appropriate size for what you want distance-wise. And then just make sure you give them heads and arms and legs. And that way, far off, you've got a crowd. Hey guys, it is Thursday and I'm getting ready to upload the video. I actually edited it a little bit last night and this morning. Sorry, I've still got to use my heating pad on my side. I'm feeling better, still don't feel great, but at least I feel better. As I was editing, I wanted to clarify a few things because I think I just didn't feel good and I didn't go into as much detail or kind of explain it. And that was on the figure movement. So I'm inserting this in now. And I just wanted to go over it one more time. When you're creating movement with your figures, it's as simple as making some changes to the legs and arms. So to get movement like our walker, you just point the shoes in a direction and it's just a V in one leg and a straight line. Now to get a dancer, what I did was I did a backwards L, basically, or a backwards V, kind of tilted up. And then you could put the ground right here to show that they're jumping. The arms also suggest jumping because they're up in the air. How would you do dancing? Well, you would do both your arms. You would do your arms different directions, and you would do your legs different. So you could leave one leg straight, or with this little indentation here, it means it's bent at the knee, the other one's out, and arms are like this. So think if you're dancing and you're doing something like that, okay? So it's just a matter to create movement in these figures by just changing the legs and the arms, and you'll get the illusion that they're moving, that they're walking, that they're jumping, that they're dancing. Remember, this is just simple figures. It's not anything real detailed. We are just at the beginning of figures. But this will be the last video on figures for a while. Next week, we're going to talk about kind of if you have old artwork in your home, how you can turn it into, something that'll fit your vibe. And on our big painting, I just wanted to say you could blueprint everything if you wanted to draw in kind of a sketch of everything, or you can put in pieces, or you don't have to do it at all. Some paintings I don't do it at all, and some I do. So it just really depends. Some I do and some I don't. It just really depends. And did you see how good the clear gesso worked? It really gripped it. Let me show you an example off of the gesso, maybe. Let's see. I wish you could feel it, because that's where you can really feel the grip. But let me just, I know it's not over here. Okay, look at the blue on the gesso and off the gesso. It's really muted up here when it's on this the shiny part. I don't know if you can, it's coming across that clear in the camera or not. But there is a difference, and your paint does grip really well. So guys, before we go, I thought I would bring you over here to my canvas. And I'm going to create a grassland scene. I need a grasshopper and a whiptail lizard on it. And I'm going to do some underpainting. And underpainting is basically when you put something on your canvas before you paint. And it can be an outline, kind of like a blueprint, or it could just be like a wash. Some people will put, you'll hear them say, oh, I put a burnt sienna or burnt umber wash. That's just to give the paint a color tone, a base to build upon. Now, what I'm going to do is more the blueprint style of underpainting, because what I'll do is I get some burnt sienna. I can also do this in, if I was doing something that was more bright colored and I wasn't trying to, make you feel like you were in the grassland seeing these insect and lizard, I would do maybe hot pink or something. And you can do this not only on canvas when you're painting, you can do this on sketches and sketchbooks, anywhere that you're creating, you can do an underpainting. But if I was trying to think, okay, I did jungle. I did a big canvas and it's the jungle. I would have underpainted that with like a bright green or bright orange or bright pink. So if some of it pops through, it's going to add to the overall picture. And that's what painting, and that's what I kind of strive for when I'm doing my underpainting. Besides kind of being a guideline on size and everything, I want to use that as to enhance the overall experience of the person looking at it. So I'm just going to show you how I would do that for this scene. And again, I don't want to paint a scene like line for line, color for color if I'm copying it, say, off a photograph, okay? I want it to be close to real, but not looking exactly like a grasshopper and a lizard, whiptail lizard. So. And like I said, I use burnt sienna. I got this from Walmart. It's just System 3 acrylic paint. Ronnie. It was not expensive, and it works just fine. And you might be saying, okay, how to use this? Because you're famous for painting using your lids as your palette. And I am. And I don't know why I do that. If I mix colors, I have my little palette somewhere. But if I'm not mixing up colors, I just use the lids. I think it's just easier. Now for this one though, it looks like that, and it's this tube, so I never take this off. I dip in, see that right there? I dip into that to do my, and like I said, I don't want this to be perfect. I'm not trying to replicate a lizard, I'm not trying to replicate a grasshopper or a lizard. And because I don't like grasshoppers, this is the image I'm using. Like I said, I'm not copying it exactly. I'm just using it as a guideline for my little lizard. For my grasshopper. I am going to make it a little bigger than it would normally be because I want you to see it in the grassland. And if I mess up, I have my gesso. I can just color over it. And I do mess up, All artists mess up. And if they tell you they don't, well, I'm sorry, they're fibbing. Grasshoppers are weird. Sorry. I don't like grasshoppers. So why are you painting one? Because I need it for my image here. There's my grasshopper. Doesn't look like much right now, I know, and that's fine. Then for my lizard, what I want to do is put a kind of a... But that is a whiptail lizard. They live in the grasslands and in the desert. Okay, guys. So what I did was I just took my gesso and went over the mess up. I left some of it showing through because that's just going to add texture and interest to the overall image when I'm done. And I'm going to move him up a little bit. I don't want them right across from each other anyway. So I'm going to move the lizard up to here. So I would have gessoed him even if I hadn't messed up, because I messed up putting him in the wrong place. And again, I just shake my gesso really good, then put it in the lid, take my brush. You can gesso over it till you don't see it anymore. That's totally fine and up to you. And then once that dries enough, well, actually, it doesn't matter because I'm going up. What I'm going to do is, I think I won't worry about the rock yet, and I'm just going to kind of do my lizard here. And the body comes off like, kind of like that. Alright, I like the body, don't like the legs, so we're doing the same thing again. We're going to grab our paper towel and kind of blot out our legs here. And yes, underpainting is like mistakes, and like I said, it's perfectly natural to make mistakes and have to fix them. So if you're just beginning your art journey, or maybe you started it years ago and you're taking your practice back up and you find that, you know, you're just messing up a lot, don't worry about it. It's perfectly normal. And like I said, I like the shape of the body this time. The legs were throwing me. And these are bigger than normal if you're just tuning into this part, because we're kind of like microscoping in this area. You know how they do like the life of an ant or something. And then I got a little bit of the burnt sienna on my gesso brush, so I'm just wiping it off. But anyway, I will get the legs right. It's just probably going to be a little hit and miss. Like I said, I don't normally draw lizards. But this gives you an idea of what underpainting is. It can be just like if you want to put a color underneath all over your canvas, or if you want to kind of paint out the whole scene that you're going to do, like a blueprint. Not everybody underpaints. Not every piece of art from the same artist will be underpainted. It just depends. Well, anyway, guys, that was our day today. We gessoed packing paper to extend its life, reuse it. We put simple figures in motion just using more simple shapes. And you got to see what underpainting was, why it's used, and that professional artists do mess up as well. And that's okay. So guys, I hope you liked this video, and I hope you enjoyed yesterday's. I know we watercolored our picture. Yes, we did. In fact, you got the watercolor version of this as well as the acrylic version. And in this case, I think I like the acrylic version better. I think it came out better, and I will probably cut this out and frame it and put it in my art shop to sell. So guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry my energy was low today and that I'm in so much pain. I know it's been kind of like, I promise next Wednesday and I promise on Friday my energy hopefully will be back up and our video will just be full of life. Also, on Friday night in my Facebook group, which is linked down below, I'll be doing a live sketch with me. So if anybody's interested, you can head over there to that. It's just something fun. I really eventually want to narrow it down to people that really want to sketch with me and do a Zoom sketch with me. I think that would be fun. So remember, we're trying to get to 1,000 before December 31st. I would so appreciate, I so want to get to 1,000 and beyond. It would just mean the world to me. Again, thank you for everybody watching. If you're new, thank you for being here. And if you've been here a while, you have my heart too. I will see you on Friday if you do paper crafting with me. Let's see what we're talking about on Friday. What is a tab journal and how to create one? That's on Friday. It'll be my take on a tab journal. And we always know my take is kind of out there sometimes. I'll see you then, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.